Aha! Welcome to Wwise Up On Air. My name is Damian Kaspauer. I'm product manager here at Audiokinetic. We're going to go hands-on, giving you a preview of the next full version of Wwise 2021.1. We got a beta coming out. Want to get signed up for that? I'll have a link to register in the chat and probably peek in the description. It's in there. Before we get started, as everyone's kind of getting settled, I just wanted to say thanks for being here. It's going to be an overview. We'll get into the agenda here in a second, but I've been thinking a lot about, as we have been prepping for this beta, how much like game development software development is. Maybe not a surprise, they're both software. But having worked in games, and especially games as a live service, where you're constantly iterating, you're constantly bringing new content out, it really strikes me, over the 8-point releases of our last full release, 2019.2, and in preparation for the next full release of Wwise 2021.1, it's just a hive of activity at Audiokinetic all year long, and try to find some moments along the way to give thanks to some folks who've helped contribute to our arrival here at the end of the year 2020. Let's say goodbye to this year and look to the future. It's great to see so many folks from around the world in the game audio community joining us here today. Friendly faces, folks from the development team at Audiokinetic kicking around in there. Great to see everyone. And so with that, holiday sweater. Yeah, should we do this? Ready? Okay, here it goes. Yeah, the big reveal. This year, I was very wise. Yeah. I hope you were wise out there as well. Props to Samuel Longchamps, team lead on our cross-platform development team here at Audiokinetic, for the sweet artwork. We've got little cats of game audio, ducks of game audio, beer of game audio, wine, sweet little actor mixer container, little switch container. Anyway, it's all in there. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Holiday sweater. So cool. Well, without further ado, I just want to invite everyone to, engage in the chat. I'm keeping it peeled in there. If you got questions as I'm going through, I'm happy to answer questions or take a little left or right turn if we need to get a clearer definition on something. I'll try to get that in place. Got a team of folks behind the scenes helping to surface those questions. So giving a shout out to Michelle and Tiffany in the chat, helping to keep everything flowing. And yeah, mad props to Tiffany on the marketing team here at Audiokinetic. She has been a huge asset in pulling off of all of these live streams, promotional efforts. It is not unfair to say that I could not pull off these things without her. So thanks, Tiffany. Great to have you on the team. So check this. Beta, boom. We're going to dig into these topics, and you should be checking out the Wwise blog on the side here or in the future. we've just published a Wwise What's New Beta Edition, where you can get a preview of all of these features coming to the Wwise 21.1 beta. Little short descriptions, some sweet screenshots. Absolutely keep it by your side, or dream about it at night like I do. Whatever feels right. So we're going to go through a bunch of different topics along the way. I'll kind of keep you posted with this slide deck. But we're going to go into each of these feature areas, not just in a highlights and overview kind of way, but we're actually going to put our hands in the tools, because I want you to see how these features manifest themselves in the Wwise that you probably know and love. And it'll be interesting for me because, again, as developers constantly in motion, these are things that we've been working on for the last year, some of them even longer. And as they finally start to reach you out there in the community, we're really interested to get your feedback and interested to get your perspective on them. So please register for the beta. Get your hands on it as soon as it launches. And let's go. Cool. So first up in our talk, we're going to be giving a shout out to that team at Audiokinetic who's been cranking super hard to prepare the next full version of Wwise and to get that beta ready for you. We're hoping to have that drop for you soon. So everybody plays a part here at Audiokinetic, and the collaboration is phenomenal. I'm just about 1.5 years deep on this position, and I have to say that despite the remote situation we've all found ourselves in, we've been able to maintain a really collaborative and creative spirit over this release. So I can't wait to share this stuff with you. And with that, we're going to talk about object-based audio. And this may be a new concept for some folks. And so I want to give it a little bit of a soft introduction, if that's cool. And so object-based audio is available inside of the Windows operating system. You might have seen it there when you right-click on the sound settings, Microsoft Spatial Sound. Also recently in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X launches, they have the availability to process objects to different degrees. And so on the PS5, you've got this setting for your headphones where you can enable spatial audio. And they got a little cool test there. You can get it all tweaked and, pick a HRTF or pick a spatialization profile that fits your ears. And so when we're talking about object-based audio, we're talking about the delivery of sounds with a higher level of precision spatially to these kinds of endpoints that can receive this greater spatial precision and render that for you using processing that's available in these operating systems at these endpoints. So I'll throw a bunch of terminology around. Stop me if I don't go deep enough. But I'm also not going to go too deep because I want to keep things surface level for now, because we can look forward to even deeper dives on all of this over the next 3 to 6 months as we lead up to the release of Wwise 2021.1 and kind of all of the educational materials that Audiokinetic is known for arriving to help support your understanding of these features and how to use them. So great stuff. I'll try to keep it high level because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And object-based audio is really an evolution on the sound formats that you know and love. If you grew up on mono or stereo sound, whether you landed right in the middle of surround sound 5171, or you've just come to it recently with the addition of height channels in a 7.1.4 configuration. I think of object-based audio as that evolution, where now we can, instead of relying on specifically a channel-based format for the delivery of that spatial precision, we can actually maintain that spatial precision all the way through the authoring pipeline in Wwise so that it can be delivered to those endpoints with the most precision. Shout out on this object-based audio feature. All of these teams at Audiokinetic had a hand in bringing this to life. I'm sure that actually many more folks contributed to it, but it really was a collaborative effort across all of the different teams that we have here at Audiokinetic, because this is a feature that runs deep, runs right to the foundation of the Wwise audio pipeline. The other folks that I want to give a shout out to here are a bunch of folks who participated in an audio object-based focus group over the course of our development. And so we had regular meetings with a group of industry experts who have experience having authored with objects, either for VR or other spatial experiences, as well as on the PS4 using our Mixer plugin pipeline that the new object-based audio pipeline will replace moving forward. So huge shout out to those folks. We're really interested in trying to evolve these technologies with the influence of the community who's actively working, actively creating them. So huge shout out. Thanks to everyone. In a broad overview of this pipeline, the main things to keep in mind is that for many of us, nothing will change. If you're not authoring for a object-based endpoint, you'll still mix and produce sounds in Wwise the way you always have. And we think there's some features of this that will actually help you do that better. But fundamentally, whether you're authoring for audio objects or not, the main thing to take away here is that we've allowed for the ability to render to a channel-based format, which we call a pass-through, a channel-based format that could be virtualized. You might know it as a spatialized bed, as well as the ability to pass through individual audio objects with all of their positioning information and other metadata that's associated with it, so that it can be rendered positionally by the endpoint in the best possible way. So whether it's your PS5 or your Xbox Series X, your Windows spatialization, they know where to put that sound based on the output configuration that's set. And in some cases, they can even position it better using these HRTF profiles that may be tailored to you and the way that you hear. So the 5 areas that we're going to talk about and go hands-on with are the authoring audio preferences. So that's the preferences you have in Wwise. The system audio device update. This is a cross-platform system audio device. Audio bus status. It helps communicate what a bus is doing, how it's processing sounds. We're going to go hands-on with profiling and profile some audio objects, see what that looks like, as well as authoring custom metadata. So let's dig deep and see what happens. The first part of this that we're going to talk about are these authoring audio preferences. And these are the initialization settings that the Wwise authoring uses when you're playing back sounds in it. And going hands-on with that, boop, boop. This is what it looks like. So up in the audio menu, we've got a main mix channel configuration, which is again that channel-based configuration that may or may not be spatialized depending on whether your endpoint can handle it, as well as authoring audio preferences. And these preferences are only used by Wwise authoring. So these are not used by your game engine. These are not used by your game. And one of the important pieces of this when we talk about the audio object pipeline is enabling system audio objects. So each endpoint has a number of system audio objects that it can support. And so depending on what application is reserving those system audio objects, you want to make sure that you have them where you need them. And so in our case, we're going to be relying on the game engine to reserve those system audio objects. So I've got them disabled here in the authoring application. Okay. So with that, we can talk more about how objects flow. And one of the big pieces of that is the system audio device. And this is a new cross-platform audio device that talks between the endpoint and Wwise and is really that final stage before Wwise hands off the audio to a platformer endpoint in a configuration that it can handle. So these system audio devices historically have not had a lot of control through the authoring application. We're going to talk about some of those new settings that for the first time are available to you within the authoring. Historically, kind of buried under the hood in the SDK, talk to your programmer, negotiate those properties. But we're bringing that directly into the authoring application so you have control, you have the authoring per platform capability, as well as a whole bunch of profiling that you can do in there. And you can see that we've, well, let's go hand on. So the first thing you'll see is we've got a series of properties over here that you can configure for the system audio device. The other cool thing is we've put your audio devices right here at the top of the audio tab in the Project Explorer. So as sound flows out of the master mixer hierarchy to the master audio bus, arrives at the audio device where it makes decisions about how to format that for the endpoint. We can profile from the device editor what's happening, either at runtime or in the authoring application, as well as properties and metering for the different areas. So I'll dig a little bit deeper on these properties just to give you an idea of what that's like. Allow 3D audio gives us the ability to, if they're available, deliver 3D audio formatted sounds across these three different areas, the main mix and objects. The pass-through is a non-spatialized, you can think of it as an unfiltered path to an endpoint, and we'll see a little bit more about that as we go hands-on. We can set configurations for the headphone and speaker configurations for main mix. So when that's when those are the output settings that have been decided either in the audio settings of the platform, we have an ability to allow system audio objects if they're available or not. And so kind of dig a little deeper on what that means, some minimum requirements. And lastly, we've added the ability to place effects in the audio device as the final stage. Specifically, we will put the mastering suite into this slot, and this will replace where the mastering suite sits, and talk a little more about that later. So I'm super excited to actually connect to the game and show you this working. But before we do, let's see what else we got. So next thing up is bus status. So there's a couple places where we have added the ability to understand what's happening in an audio bus. You may have already seen some of this as we've been scrolling around. We have a set of icons that represent different configurations in the master mixer hierarchy. We have some new configurations that I'll talk you through here in a second, as well as bus status. So understanding what's happening in a bus. Is it mixing? Is it processing? Are audio objects being passed through? So we'll go a little more hands-on with that with the demo here in a minute. Again, it wouldn't be wise if you couldn't draw a full circle around your workflow and profile these things as they're happening in the game. And so we have a whole new suite of views you may have seen a little bit of, and we'll go deeper into. And these views help us understand what's happening with audio objects from different perspectives. We have a 3D view, we have our metadata, and we can understand the flow of audio objects through the pipeline using these new profiling views. And lastly, we have custom metadata that can be authored throughout the pipeline. And we'll talk a little bit and see some examples of how that works. It's great. Again, there is a full circle workflow that we are empowering people with to begin to explore this object-based audio future that has started to emerge over the past years and really is landing squarely today with the technology that we're bringing to the next full version of Wwise. So there's tons of cool conversations happening in the chat. I'm missing most of it. I got a couple of folks that I'd like to scooch back to when I get a chance, talking about different higher order ambisonics and spatial audio features. I hope to circle back, but let's go hands-on if we can and start to look into that a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's cool. Don't forget to sign up for the beta. Dig. All right, so we talked about the system audio device. We gave a quick overview of these different bus status icons. We have an unresolved bus. This is the master audio bus. It's been updated with metering for these three different categories of sound. The main mix, pass-through, and objects. I'm using the Wwise Audio Lab, which will not be part of the beta, but will be ready for the final release. And we can see that we have a couple other kinds of buses here. We have a mixing bus, and that's denoted by this little cool curvy wave thing. And this is mixing. Well, why is it mixing? We have a new bus status section on the bus that when you hover over it will tell you why it's mixing. And in this case, it's because it has an explicit bus configuration. It's a channel-based bus. And we can see that the bus configuration is set to 7.1, and up here that is true. In the case of this master audio bus where we actually don't know, it's because it's defined by the device. And so when we connect to a game at runtime, we'll actually be able to resolve that and know what that master audio bus configuration is. And it's processing because it's a master bus, right? And right now it's configured for a 2.0 based on the device. Okay. Another kind of bus here is just what we call a simple bus. It is not doing any processing, not doing any mixing. But it's rolling right up to its parent and will continue to flow throughout the master mixer hierarchy. So that's a little bit about bus status. We talked a little bit about the system audio device. I think it's time to start pushing some sounds around and flipping some switches back and forth. So let's do that. I got the Wwise Audio Lab. I did a little bit of tweaking on it, but let's roll and tell me, can you hear this? A lot of water sounds in this one, so apologies if it feels like you're taking a bath. Maybe not such a bad thing. Some seagulls there, and let's go ahead and start profiling over here in Wwise. So in Wwise, we now see that our main mix has a 2-channel orientation. We can also look here on the master audio bus. This is all true. The configuration is 2.0. We are running a 7.1 config into it, and it's getting down mixed to 2.0 for that. Not hearing. Bam! How about now? Yeah, better. I bet that's working. Peaceful. Tranquility. Good question. If the bus is not mixing, effects used on it will be applied to each of the child voices separately as a question. And yeah, thanks for the help in the chat room answering that. Yes. So, okay. But this is cool, right? But I thought we were talking about object-based audio. So the first thing we actually need to do there to enable that, and remember, I've already toggled off the system audio objects in the authoring application. But the next piece of that is to actually go to the spatial sound setting in Windows and select Windows Sonic for headphones. This is a default spatial profile that comes with Windows 10. And toggle that, and you can see immediately that something has changed. Maybe you even heard it change. But essentially, connected to this Unreal project, Wwise has reinitialized in order to reflect the changes that we just made. So now you can see the main mix has a multi-channel output. And again, you're saying to yourself, but I only have 2 speakers. And what's happening there is that main mix is being virtualized in that 7.1.4 configuration. And binauralized by the spatializer in the Windows Sonic environment. And right now we don't have anything going through the pass-through. The pass-through is a 2.0 unfiltered way to play sound that will not be spatialized in this case. So again, I can toggle this on and off, and you can immediately see and maybe even hear the results of that. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's going to unlock a lot of experimentation for you folks once you have your hands on it immediately, and I'm really excited to hear what you get up to with it. Okay, so that was cool, Damien, but we still don't see any objects here. What we can see is we can see that 3D audio is active. Let's flip it again. Is it active? No. Is it active? Yes. Cool. And we also have the pass-through active. These system audio objects, so those things I was talking about that your endpoint has, at the ready under circumstances where they've been enabled. And in this case, we can see that we have 111 available system audio objects from this spatialization profile. We're not using any right now. The main mix configuration is what the endpoint is asking for is a 714 configuration. Pass-through configuration is 2.0. Again, the endpoint configuration is 714 is what it's asking for that main mix. And I think all we got to do now is get some objects over here. So let's go. If we can think about audio objects as sounds and their position, then what we really need to do is we need to make sure that that positioning is preserved all the way to the master audio bus so that a sound and its position can be delivered to that spatializer in order to put it in the right place. And so we'll start looking down the hierarchy to see where sounds might be losing their position because of mix down. So in the case of this binaural bus, where we've set an explicit channel configuration to 7.1, what we've done is we've actually taken all that rich positioning information for each sound and we've rendered it to a 7.1 channel configuration. And so we have lost or rendered that information, and it doesn't flow through to the endpoint for any additional object-based processing. So one simple way to unlock objects and allow them to flow is to just change the bus configuration. And so you can see we've added a couple new configurations here. We have the same as main mix. So again, if you want to send something to the main mix to either be mixed in that configuration that's set in the audio device, or to be spatialized by the endpoint, you can do that here. Same as pass-through mix. Again, maybe you've got sounds in your project like music that you actually don't want to be filtered by any spatial processing. So that's your same as pass-through mix. And lastly, we have this audio objects bus configuration. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip that. You might have heard a little bit of sound change, and reflected in the meter, we're seeing now the mono metering for each of the sounds that are routed or are arriving to this bus. If we go to the master audio bus, we can see this as well. The meter for the master audio bus here is showing the audio objects that are flowing to it, as well as metering for the audio device, how those are being received. Okay, a lot happening here. How's the chat room going? It's great to have some AK folks fielding questions. I appreciate that tremendously. It's I'm having fun over here. So wow, what is going on? Let's take a look at the profiling for this and try to understand that better. Something that you may have seen kind of moving around over here is the audio object list. And this is the first of the new profiling windows that I want to talk about. The first thing is you have a list of the audio buses, and you can see those have the same iconography to describe what kind of bus they are, as well as a list of the audio objects that are being created. So we can simply select either a sound or a group of sounds, and we can begin to see in this 3D object viewer the movement of those. Okay? And so, yeah, y'all have been looking at this 3D head for a while. You like it? Is it cool? It's kind of space age. It's got these groovy little headphones, right? And so we can see that these fountain splashes are being turned into objects and rendered by the object renderer. You can even get a little bit of information here. The green halo is actually the spread value of those audio objects. And I think I could do something kind of fun. Why don't I just pull this over here? I think I can just walk around. Starts, awesome. There's my fountain. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Should I do a little loop? It's kind of cool. All right. And again, I think the large green circle on the face, if you can see that, I'll give you a little zoom. The large green circle on the face is actually the center of the fountain. And so the closer you get to that, the bigger that becomes, because it has a spread based on distance in there. Let's take a look at that. So back to Wwise, let's find my my fountain center. Oh, there it is. Cool. And let me get that up in the properties. Let me look at the positioning for it, and it's on the attenuation fountain. Let me go grab that. Yeah. Okay. And we can see the spread for that here represented by the curve based on distance. We're kind of about midway in there. And if we change this curve, we actually change the spread of that, and you can see the reaction of the 3D audio object viewer. So a lot of capability there to be able to see what's happening with audio objects, how they're being positioned and spread around. Another piece of the profiling suite that we're bringing to Wwise 21.1 is this audio object metadata tab and audio object metering. So in the case of that one's got, so yeah, we're basically metering the selection of an audio object in the audio object list, as well as profiling the metadata information for that. And if I said metadata like 100 times now, apologies. What is metadata really? Well, we just show you. And metadata is something that's always existed in Wwise as 3D position, azimuth, distance, right? These are properties of a sound that we get from the game engine to help position sound in the world, or to render that sound. And so that's metadata. The focus, the spread percent, the spatialization type. These are types of metadata that you can author in Wwise. That, again, when you deliver to an audio object renderer, an endpoint that can receive that information and position these sounds for the best possible result, you really can reach a greater level of fidelity than is available in a channel-based format, right? The limitations of number of speakers go away when you're using a virtualized rendering of them. And so for the first time, we're just clearing the way to be able to deliver that higher level of fidelity all the way to the endpoint that knows best how to render it based on your settings, based on your HRTF profile, or based on your chosen spatialization settings. The last piece here is what we call the Wwise system output settings, and this is this can be a custom piece of metadata that's associated with the sound, and we can look a little bit into how to author that. So over to the fountain that we've been working on. I just happen to know where that lives. Shocking, I know. And what we can see is that it's comprised of a bunch of different sounds, and we can see that those sounds are currently being rendered as audio objects. Okay? And new to Wwise 21.1 is the Metadata tab. I already added it. So, yeah, let's get a quick comparison of the fountain close-up and with the objects off. That seems good. We can do that. So here we are. We're pretty close to it. Oh yeah, it's got great positioning too. And now let's turn those audio objects off. Is that day? And this is night? Is it ketchup and mustard? What's the comparison? It's different, that's for sure. We can even try the Dolby spatializer. Different still. So flavors of spatialization, as well as just a standard stereo representation. Blowing my mind right now that we can just flip between those, that out there in streaming land, you can hear the difference, hopefully. It's pretty cool. So let's flip back to objects and to our fountain experience. I'm going to take a step back from here, though, if you don't mind. Whew. Yeah, it feels like I'm taking a shower, and that was hours ago. So back to our metadata. We have this metadata that has been added, which we saw over in the metadata for this sound. But right now, the mix behavior is just to use the default behavior. And And for the fountain, let's say that we wanted just to switch things up and we actually wanted to mix it to the pass-through without any spatialization. We do that. But in order to do that, we're actually going to need to start and stop these sounds. So I'm going to harsh come down from that. And if we come back, now we can see that these sounds are now being routed through the pass-through. Okay? And the trick there is that when a sound is started, its metadata is communicated, and that is held onto and preserved while that sound is playing. So in the case of the fountain, it's always looping, so it never has a chance to pass that metadata back along. We could take a different case, like the ball thrower, and you can see that's piling up the audio objects. So these are also objects. And back here in our authoring, we can actually flip the switch for that, and objects that are rendered after will have new metadata behaviors. So let's go ahead and add that. System default custom, and let's mix those to main, let's say. Back here, and we can now see that those sounds are being rendered to the main mix. Cool. Groovy. I think we did it. Like, audio objects, they're happening. We're delivering them to you to get your hands around it creatively and to make some cool decisions about how you want them to work. And we're really interested to get your feedback about it. We hope that you register for the beta, get up on it, and register so that we can tell you all about it. It's going to be fun. It's nice to see some of the excitement in the chat. Thanks for hanging around for this. With that, I'm going to keep this Unreal project rolling, and we're going to switch to spatial audio. So, yeah. Spatial audio. Okay, dig it. First up, shout out to the spatial audio folks at Audiokinetic, the research and development team, core integrations, UI and UX. It is a collaborative process that brings all the teams together to help really empower you to make cool stuff with Wwise. And definitely check out the Wwise Up On Air hands-on series that we did earlier this year with some folks from the team that works on spatial audio, along with Mads Moretti, author of the Wwise adventure game. And today, go download the Wwise adventure game Spatial project for Unity. Comes with Wwise. You can connect them up and experience spatial audio in the Wwise adventure game today. That's even before the beta is out. So huge shout out to the team for bringing the new features I'm about to give you a preview on to the next full version of Wwise. Pretty cool. So first thing is we've got some profiling updates that are arriving in the Wwise authoring application. The ability to see the extent of a room, diffraction, transmission, and spread in the game object 3D viewer, more spatial audio properties, and a bunch of display settings. Let's look a little bit at what that looks like here. So for those folks who maybe have not seen the glory that is the the game object 3D viewer, let's just give you an eyeful of that. And this is what Wwise sees behind the scenes running in that Unreal project. Got a giant volume around everything defined as the outside. We got some cones for different, for the listener. Different sounds popping on and off. I guess that's probably... Yep, there's that fountain still going. I don't hear it. I hear that ambient ocean wave, though. Seagulls, yeah, we can see those flying around on occasion. Cool, thanks for putting up the Spatial series to Wise Up On Air into the chat. And we can see the rooms and portals that have been authored throughout the Wwise Audio Lab. And I should probably mention Wwise Audio Lab. It's available today. Go grab it. In the non-beta version, you can have your hands on this and be exploring these visualization tools. So we've also worked over the display settings for the Game Object 3D Viewer. We've reorganized each of the categories for folks who have been in spatial audio and Wwise for a while. This comes as just a relief because everything is reorganized to make it more accessible. So whether it's talking about, the opacity of portals, oh yeah, let's brighten those up. Maybe you want to display things as wireframes so you can see through it a little bit better. It's cool. Reflection paths if you're working with Wwise Reflect, and a whole other just suite of features that give you that kind of visibility through profiling in Wwise. Cool. So back to the new cool features that are coming to 21.1. The thing I want to talk about first is in Unreal, the ability to fit these rooms and portals to geometry. And this is an evolution of the workflow for authoring rooms and portals. Rooms and portals being the shapes that define both a room or a space, as well as the portal, which is the passageway between spaces. And again, I would encourage you to dig deeper into that Spatial Audio live stream series to get the full overview of that. Research and development team member Talika Klikian goes super high level at the start of each episode with a really great introductory perspective on the different features of Wwise Spatial Audio. So I really encourage you to dig deeper in that. But today what we're going to do is we're going to fit these rooms and portals to geometry auto-magically. So let's go. Stop that. The seaside. Great. So let's find a spot where we can do some dancing. And I'm just going to pick this random building. It's probably cool. And in here, I'm going to take and place an actor called AK Spatial Audio Volume. Okay, boom, there it is. Cool. And in the details panel in Unreal, we're going to look for the fit to geometry toggle. And here it is. Cool, that's working. We've got a couple different properties here. We got the collision channel for those folks who are authoring to that level of detail. We have the different shapes of this AK Spatial Audio Volume and some hit points. And what we're going to do first is we're just going to toggle this box and see what happens. Wow. It just jumped and attempted to fill that room. Well, that didn't work so good. So let's go back. Let's try that again with a different shape. See if that helps us out. Right. Let's see. Maybe that was the wrong building. Oh yeah, maybe I'm supposed to be over here. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, doing it live. Well, let's start here. And bam. Yeah, that was better. Ha ha! Yeah. So you can see how in this case, in the well-prepared geometry of this building, it just magically snapped into place. I'll do it again. You can see this this box we have down here, and nothing up my sleeve. Click the fit to geometry, and bam. It throws a bunch of points out and attempts to find the best fit inside of that geometry, and hey, it fit. I love it when a plan comes together. So that's fit to geometry. For folks who maybe have done it on hard mode, you'd be like grabbing the extruder, you know, trying to get it just right. Oh, yeah, it's not overlapping. But now you can just click your pain away with fit to geometry. This is coming to the 2021.1 version of our Unreal integration. We do not have this coming for Unity, so not at this time. The next piece of it is automating this portal fit. So we actually have, do we have a portal here already? I think we do. I'm just going to delete it. What the heck? What could go wrong? Well, there it is, I guess. So that's kind of cool. Got one there, but let's see if we can't just fit one. So we're going to grab this AK Acoustic portal, drop it in here, and it's red. It's like, nah, it's not cool. I'm not connected to anything. So we're giving some visual feedback here for folks who are authoring and letting them know that, yeah, this portal is not connected to anything. It's not going to work so hot. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to toggle that fit to geometry and see what happens. I'm going to nudge it in a little closer. Oh, hey, it turns yellow. So yeah, yellow when it intersects with one of those AK Spatial audio volumes, right? It's like, hey, I see that I found a friend. So let's see if we can fit that to geometry and just kind of move that around. You can see it's finding the geometry intersection to expand into. Put it there. Oh, maybe that's a little too big, but I guess that would work. Well, let me maybe snap it into the door frame. Okay, that's cool. And the way portals work is you have this, crossfade between rooms. And so you can take the extent and you can take and extrude this in order to change the interpolation between the rooms that are connected by this portal. So if you want you want more propagation through the portal, you can make that wider. So that was cool. Let's do another one because it's too easy. Like it should always be this easy. Is the next one going to be though? That's a good question. Here's another one, and it's like, nah, I'm not connected to anything. Let's go in here. Oh, hey, I found a friend. And let's just toggle that. Hey, I got at least half of that window. Maybe that's the half that's open. But fit to geometry for rooms and portals coming to Wwise 2021.1. Super cool new feature. We think it's going to speed up your workflow and really bring this piece of spatial audio that is centered around sound propagation in a space, right? In a room, between rooms, out of a window. This has historically been out of reach and or a manual process, and in some ways a labor of love. I know a lot of people who author to this level of details in their game, because once you start enabling the capabilities of sound propagation at this level of detail, you believe it. The immersion is increased, and people who are listening care. And so in evolving this feature to make it faster, smarter, and just easier for people to access, I'm getting some questions about odd-shaped rooms or doorways. So yeah, good question. So one of the things, and this was back to, well, let's just throw another spatial audio volume in. So we have this fit to geometry, and yeah, we can just slam it on and it goes good. Looking at it back here, we're like, yeah, okay. Filled it up good. We can also change the shape, and this complex convex polyhedron shape is actually what you'd want to be using for those complex shapes, because the oriented box, the aligned box, these are just going to try to expand to fill simple shapes. Whereas the convex polyhedron shape is going to give you many more surfaces to your room. Let's see what happens there. Oh yeah, it doesn't like that. You can see a bunch of dots where it's trying to think about it. But essentially, this is the way to get those complex shapes, is to put it someplace. Try to fit it with that. Maybe if I drag it around, because it kind of gives you a little preview in real time of what that's going to look like. I wonder if I can bring it up into the, yeah, oh, that's cool. What about upstairs? It's really cool watching those dots expand to try to find a good surface to fill. Let's see if I can just wing it here with something. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, I don't have a good demo for a complex shape. We can make it do that though. That was fun. Again, it's an informed process, and so I'm encouraging you, get signed up for the beta. Try it out in a level with some complex geometry. Let me know how that lands, because ultimately we're trying to build this for the straight path to authoring, the best sound experience. So let me know how it works. We're interested in your experience with it. Get signed up for the beta. Give us some feedback. It's cool stuff. Sweet. We got a couple other things in here while we're at it to talk about. So next up is automatic aux bus assignment. What does that even mean? But essentially, with a room, we can calculate the volume of that room and make an informed decision about which auxiliary bus to send sounds to for reverb. So we'll look a little bit into that, and that means that if you've blanketed your level with rooms they've all been fit to geometry. You've done the thing. We have this new feature that allows you to automatically assign the aux bus for that size of room. So let's look a little bit into that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to head up to the project settings, and we're going to look at the Wwise integration settings. And down at the bottom here, we have a new thing called the reverb assignment map. Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you for the tips, chat. Bam. Okay. All of the slides I'm showing are all represented on the What's New 21.1 beta edition blog that just came out. So if you missed something, if Cam's covering stuff, just head there. It's got the same descriptions, the same images. Apologies for that. And let's keep moving. So this reverb assignment map, again, I went to the project settings in Unreal and Wwise integration settings. And at the bottom of these settings is this new reverb assignment map. And what you can do here is you can define your default reverb aux bus. So in this case, it's defined as the mezzanine 1. And this points to a auxiliary bus that has, well, let's just look at it. Back here, we've got the mezzanine 1 aux bus. It's got a Wwise room verb on it with some settings that we've decided, hey, that's what a mezzanine sounds like. We got some settings here on the small room. Hey, that's what a small room reverb sounds like. So we've defined these presets for our different areas and mapped them to an aux bus. Over here in Unreal, we've also mapped those to decay values. Okay, so 0.5 as a global decay absorption, and then ranging from 0.5 to 5. I'm actually going to tweak these a little bit so I don't have to make the volume so big. So let's say that the small room is actually 0 to 1, 0 to 2, and a medium room is okay, 1, sure, and then this is actually 1.5. So now what I've done is I've said, okay, so based on the size of the room, you're going to automatically send sounds for auxiliary sends to these different aux buses. And let's look at what that results in back here in Unreal. So here we are. Let's go back to my favorite fountain. And we're going to place this spatial audio volume. Let's put it right here on the hill. And we can already see, hopefully, does that look all right? We can see some information about this volume. We can see its volume in meters. We can see its area. We can see its decay. And we can see the aux bus that's been assigned for it. Now, over here in the details panel, we have the auto-assign aux bus checked. So this is the default for when you drag an AK spatial audio volume in. We could, of course, manually assign whatever aux bus we want. But in this case, we want to auto-assign it based on size. We're going to go back to my favorite extrude tool. And let's just start changing the size of this. There's a small room. Oh, now we're in a medium room. Okay, as the decay increases, again, we hit our threshold. We can see that mapping is changing automatically. Oh, darn, we set that at like 1.5, didn't we? It's like way up here. Okay. Are we there yet? No. Oh, yeah, 1.29. So now we're using the large room or mezzanine 1 aux bus, and that's been automatically mapped based on the size of that decay. So again, this is no more manual assignment of reverb. The room is a size. We can tell what size that room is. We can apply that size against what you decide that room size sounds like in your mapping and in your aux bus, and from there you got reverb. It's pretty jamming. That is Automatic's aux bus assignment coming to the 2021 version of Wwise and our Wwise Unreal integration. Cool. Yeah, room and portal visualization, you saw a bunch of that. Isn't that cool? We can see those rooms and those portals, the red and yellow of it. Really handy. We got these acoustic surfaces editor. I think is there one in here? Yeah. Go up here to AK Spatial. I think I found one down here in the train station that was mapped kind of cool. Or not. Oh, yep, there's one. Right. So again, just the ability to edit those, quick and accurate material definitions. If you haven't dug into this acoustic materials thing, again, I point you to that Wwise Up On Air hands-on series that we did. I think it's episode 2 when we dig into acoustic properties and materials. Oh, busted. Yeah, that's the cool piece. Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So definitely dig back into the archives. We're making acoustic materials even more accessible in the next version of the Wwise Unreal integration. So can't wait for folks to get their hands on it. Switching back and forth between stuff, I guess I could use the little one. That's all right. But that kind of brings us back to our agenda. There it is. So we knocked down object-based audio. That was a deep one. Y'all hang in for that? It's cool stuff. Go back, watch it again. It's going to be great. Register for the beta. I want to hear what you get up to with that, and can't wait. The spatial audio features that we looked at in Unreal, fit to geometry for rooms and portals, automatic aux bus assignment, acoustic materials, rooms and portal visualization, and all of the new display settings over in the Wwise authoring. It's really cool stuff for spatial audio. If you haven't jumped into that world yet, it's a good time. It will be a good time to, as we launch 21.1 beta and the 21.1 full release. So dig that. Yeah. We got a little ways to go, but these next ones are a little smaller. They're a little more bite-sized, so hopefully I can follow along in the chat better. I appreciate the work folks are doing behind the scenes to help me out. It's difficult to keep it all on track when you have so much to talk about. So thank you for your questions. Hope to circle back around to them. So hang in there. Coming up next, we're going to talk about WAQL, coolest acronym in the world. I'll tell you what that means. Impactor plugin. If you saw a preview of this at the Worldwide Online Expo earlier this spring, well, we're going to bring it out in an experimental form for you to mess around with, and we're going to play a bit with it today. Meter history. You're already seeing it, actually, although admittedly, not super focused on it, but we're going to get there. Accessibility. Yeah, we got some cool things in the box. Work units. Yeah. And then music segment UX. A little bit of tweaks in there to help folks with accessibility. Dig in the seagulls for a second, and then we'll press on. Cool. It's at a moment like this that I want to remember my hot chocolate of game audio. It seemed seasonally appropriate to take a moment of pause with a pot of chocolate, marshmallows included. And just breathe for a second. Cool. Dig it. So much engagement in the chat. I wish I had the capacity to follow along with that, but I'm going to press on because you're dying to know what WAQL stands for. So, with that in mind, let's talk WAQL. First of all, shout out to the Experience team for bringing this feature to 2021.1. The Experience team is at the tip of the spear when it comes to what ends up in the authoring and presented to you as Wise authors. And so there's always something cool cooking under the hood, and once in a while it pokes its head up. If folks have tried out WAAPI in the past, which is our Wise authoring API, they know that under the hood in the authoring application is a powerful tool to help you extend the functionality of the authoring application. Similarly, WAQL, which we'll talk about here in a second, brings even more control over what you can do and see in the authoring application. But first of all, in Unity, as part of 21.1, we're going to be bringing WAAPI to the integration and the WAAPI picker inside of Unity. So this is the bi-directional communication between Unity and the Wise authoring application. So they know what's happening with each other, and they can automatically stay in sync while you're working between Unity and Wise. So this kind of functionality will really enable a smooth workflow. It's going to be great. Additionally, WAQL, the Wise authoring query language. Say it 10 times fast, or just say WAQL. It's awesome. This is an integrated language that allows you to dig through the Wise project and surface up information that you want to know. It can work in conjunction with WAAPI as well, so that you can build powerful extensions to the authoring application based on these queries. Let's look at one of these in Wise. Groovy. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring up the list view, and that's up here in the Views Utilities. And we gotta zoom in on that here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the currency $sign to initiate a WAQL query. And we're going to ask ourselves where the volume in this project is greater than 5. Okay, so first thing it's pulling up is a list of Wise objects, and those Wise objects voice volumes that are greater than 5. It's kind of cool and super straightforward. Okay, so that's tip of the iceberg on that one. So that's cool, but what if you want to know what are the references of these things? Well, the WAQL has an entire syntax that helps you navigate these queries. So you can go to, you can from here select those references. Select references to, yeah, and then you can see that this fountain center is something that is referenced by this object over 5. We could do the same kind of thing back here. When we had this, we could go to the right-click menu, find all the references, and swiftly get out of control. So essentially, we're doing a similar kind of thing by using references to. Yeah, select. Bam. So the same kind of thing there. Additionally, let's go back to this greater than volume. Maybe we want to also see the parent objects that these are that these objects are in. So we could actually select parent, and it would show us the objects that these greater than 5 volumes are part of. Okay. And lastly, this is again way out of my depth, and I will thank Bernard Rodrigue for tutoring me on this. We're going to actually select the ancestors. Who out there's got some ancestors? This references to. Boop, 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 boop. Did I spell something wrong? See, it's red. It's telling me. Ancestors, this. Ah. Select. Bam. Okay, and so now we're seeing the ancestors of things where the volume is greater than 5, and showing those in the list view. So is it powerful? Yes. Is it going to contribute to the extension of the authoring application under the hood? These are the kind of things that people are using to improve their workflows. They'll use the Wwise authoring API to automate certain custom pipelines, and the Wwise authoring query language extends that functionality, allowing people who are extending the authoring workflow with a rich language for querying, getting results, and then using those results again in WAAPI to do cool things for their workflows. So this is one of those things that that I really believe Audiokinetic has led with, empowering the developers out there using Wwise to really use Wwise their way. And so if you're out there using WAAPI, you're going to be super stoked for WAQL coming in 21.1. Register for the beta. You can get your hands on it. Try out some of these queries. Documentation is in place. Dictionary and language provided. And so we'd love to have your feedback on it. Cool stuff. Yeah, groovy. Dig it. Jazz. This is Wwise Up On Air, hands-on, and we are having a good time. Old Hex in the chat. So good to see everyone here. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go back to our agenda. We're going to talk about the Impactor plugin next. So let's switch back to this. Oh, But a brief stop with new platforms. Hey, did you hear? The core team, which sits at the root of the Wwise SDK, has added 2 new platforms. So Xbox Series X, anyone? Yeah. PS5? Yeah, we do it. So adding to our growing list of platforms, the core team has been working hard to support new platforms at launch. Ton of cool launch titles out there using Wwise. I hope folks have been trying out the different games, listening critically, and maybe having some fun. Hopefully you have some time off here at the end of the year and you can soak in some of that cool sound. And if you're playing on new platforms, Wwise was there on launch day with a ton of release titles, and we hope they sound good to you. I've been really enjoying my time across a few different games, so hope you're digging it. And I think the big news that everyone was pretty stoked for are some of these spatial audio or audio object-enabled features across the 2 platforms. So while yes, absolutely, dedicated audio chips, yeah. Ultra-fast load time, like being able to rely on a hard drive to do your seeks or your streaming, yes. No longer are we bound by, spinning disks and friction. Headphone jack on the controller, pretty empowering and accessible to be able to deliver audio in that way for people. And of course, each of the platforms have their own specialities. Xbox Series S bringing Atmos and DTS. PS5 enabling this 3D audio workflow, HRTF profiles, the ability to have hundreds of sound sources rendered as objects, hardware accelerated convolution reverb, and controller's got a speaker and a microphone on it. That's pretty jammin'. Like, I'm sitting on my couch, I'm pressing that magic button, I'm talking to my machine, and it's listening. Okay, it's getting strange, that's for sure. But we're having a great time with it, and we're happy to be there to support developers as they pushed to launch on these new platforms. We're going to talk plugins. And the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to the team and folks who have been working on Impactor, research and development. This is a department at Audiokinetic that is tirelessly looking for new ways to bring higher fidelity, greater accessibility to wild technologies. And with this Impactor plugin, we think you're really going to dig what they've got served up for you. Cross-platform team having a hand in that, along with Core and the UI UX. It all collaborates to bring this new feature to you. So let's look at it a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be experimental because we need your feedback on it. We really want to know how you use it, what you think. Does it improve your workflows? What is that workflow? Let's take a look. So the Impactor plugin is a source plugin in Wwise. And so when we talk about plugins, we got things like effects, EQs, reverbs, distortion. Y'all know them. Y'all love them. And then we've got what are called source plugins. And so I've already kind of wired this up here, but let's take the steps. So disconnecting from Unreal, let's create a new child, a sound SFX. That's the baseline container for a sound. And in the contents editor, you can see that because I haven't associated with the WAV file, I don't have anything referenced here. But what you can do is you can add a source plugin. And across the different types that we have, of course, the SoundSeed suite of synthesis and granular synthesis plugins, the motion generator and motion source, silence, signs, and synths. Some folks just leveraging these source plugins to do incredible things at runtime. But the one we're going to look at today is Impactor. And if anyone ever had a chance to mess around with SoundSeed Impact in the past, you might see Impactor as the future self of that bygone product. And basically what it is it's a cross-synthesis tool where you can combine the pieces of a sound. We're going to bring in some source files, and when we do bring those into the Impactor source plugin, it's going to take those apart and separate them into two different pieces. So each sound will get separated into an impact and a body. And you could think of those as, or the way I think of them, as it's the transient or the impact piece, and the body, which is the residual piece that kind of defines that sound. So rather than talking about sound, because that's like dancing about architecture, love that quote, let's just get down to it and throw some stuff at this. And like I said, I'm super stoked for y'all to get your hands on it because it's pretty fun. I'm going to dig into the Wwise Audio Lab project, and you can see I've got some dirt sounds in here. Just really simple, tick tick tocks, right? Nothing fancy. But what I want to do is I want to find these on my hard drive. I get my Impactor source editor back up. And I'm just going to drag these variations into the window so that I can mess around with them. Let me get zoomed on this too, because everything is more fun when you're zoomed. So what we have now is we have each of those wave file variations have been brought in, and as we brought them in, we analyzed them and separated them into these two pieces, the impact and the body. And in addition to these, we have a set of parameters or properties that can be parameterized as well, that control various synthesis around these sounds. So, all right. And it gets even cooler if we turn profiling on. Because what we see is, and I think you can hear it, right? It's basically shuffling and randomizing these variations. And at some point we could say, yeah, no, that variation's not cool. No, I don't like that one. Oh, let me hear what those two sound like. That's cool. No, I don't like that one. And so you can make decisions about how that's working. Everyone like that sound? Meanwhile, we've got all these properties that we can also adjust. So mass, velocity, the position. This is where it is taking its information from. And I don't know if y'all have seen this, but for every property in Wwise, we got this thing called a property help. Best friend ever. Tells you all about the property that you have selected along with the range of values. So let's mess this up. Randomize the mass, maybe scale it a little bit. Oh yeah, that's heavier, right? And of course, These aren't even footsteps, but it sounds like someone's walking on the sun. Or at least we might as well be. And then velocity, of course. This is meant to reproduce the speed of an impact. We can randomize that a little bit. Things start to sound pretty different here. So if you're looking for a randomization machine that is not strictly a pitch or filtering randomization, this is again a cross-synthesis way to bring additional variations to a set of content. Roughness, love it. Let's randomize that. So now from this very simple set of 5 wave files, we have an exponential number of variations, again further extended by the randomization of the cross synthesis. So pretty cool tool, again framed as impact related because it works really well on short duration sounds, but I wonder what it's going to sound like when you put a bunch of weird tonal elements into it. Is it going to be the kind of thing that you can get additional variations out of without more memory? It's really a way to try and find that sweet spot between the content that you have, the content that you can ship with, and the most diverse representation of that content. And so where does it end? It's in your hands with 21.1 coming up in the beta. If you haven't gotten registered for it yet, the link is going around in the chat and is in the description for the live stream. And we're really interested to hear what you have to say. We even put a feedback survey button in here so that you could tell us all about it. And like I said, it's experimental plugin right now because we want you to get your hands on it. We want you to have some fun. Tell us what you did. Tell us what's working. Tell us what's not working. The most important thing is that we continue to work together to find these cool ways to work with sound interactively, and we're open ears for what you have to say about it. So, Impactor, source plugin coming in 21.1. Try it in the beta, and then look for it next year on the full release. Digging back in, we're going to talk a little bit about the meter history, and I guess we could just kind of do that here. We could do it in a couple different ways. So we've got this thing called the live button now. And the live button is gives us the real-time information about what's happening across meters and across any of the monitors throughout Wwise. And as soon as we take a step back into that, we actually exit live mode and now are seeing information that had been profiled in the past. This is way cooler to watch when you're connected to the game. So let me just get that back up. So again, by default, we're moving forward in time. Live mode is enabled, and we're watching things that happen. We can see it reflected in real time across any place that information is being visualized in the authoring application. And as soon as we take a step back into the timeline, you can see that we've switched off live mode and we are following the capture time and what was profiled. So you can scrub back in time and see, let's see, what sound was it that was making all that noise? Oh, why did it peak at minus 38? That's way too loud. Let me let me go in and find what that is. And now you have that clear visibility historically back in time to be able to understand that. Flip back into live mode, you're right back in the moment, and you're off and running. And so this is something that has never existed in Wwise to this degree of functionality. And this is something that's now enabled across metering and effects. Let's see. Right. The always on and source plugin monitoring. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Take the back a second because I skipped this. We're talking meter history all of a sudden. It's beautiful. And just shout out to all the folks who contributed to this feature, working tirelessly to bring this kind of accessibility and visibility into what's happening at runtime. The core team experience, a ton of UI UX work into something like, how do we tip you off that you're that you're looking at historical data instead of, is this broken? Making sure that it's clear when you're at runtime, when you're live. And so a ton of work has gone into trying to bring the best representation of this feature. And I just want to give a shout out to all the folks who helped at Audiokinetic with that. And we're looking for your feedback. This is honestly something that we're not sure. Did we get it right? Does it feel good to you? And so with the beta, we're going to have a ton of suggestions for things for you to try out. We're going to have a ton of questions that we have for you. And in this case, we're wondering, does this feel right? We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get that feedback so that it can inform the full release and inform future releases across all of the features that we're showing you here today. Back to the live service model that I talked about at the beginning of this live stream, we are always in motion, whether it's point releases for things that we've already shipped. 2019.2 just had a .8 release, which we're able to bring out certain new features. We're able to stabilize pieces and iterate on some of these workflows based on the feedback that we get from you. So we're really interested